Alrighty. Today we are on the infamous South Platte. Water is looking pretty good for this time of year. I think it's falling at like 165, 170. And we've been seeing Baetis hatches just about every day. I have not been to this section here in probably 2 weeks or so. That being said, you know, fishing has been hot. Everyone I know that's been going has been crushing it, so we're ready to catch some frickin' fish. So see if we can't find a couple. There's a fish. There we go. Woo! It looks like he is on the scud. He's nothing big, but these fish here in this river are full of food. So they love fighting bigger than their size, especially when you're eating scuds and Baetis and leeches all year. Alrighty, I got 5X on, so I can't necessarily horse the fish, but I can also kind of pull them in a little harder than if I was using 6. And there we go. Woo! Good looking fish there. There's a real healthy fish right there. We're gonna get him back. So when I'm tossing nymphs, 99% of the time those are ones I tied, because I like having a little personal touch with my nymphs that kind of separate it from, you know, the thousands of other peoples that fish here all year. So my 2 smaller flies, the pheasant tail and the midge, they aren't necessarily secret flies, but they're tied just a little bit differently than the others. And then my scud, again, it's not particularly a unique fly, but it's different than most of the other scuds people toss around here. And I think that's why, like, my scud on this river does so well. It's because it's, to me, one of the most natural looking scuds. Bright colors, right anatomy put into it, and then also what I think really helps is lack of flash. I think a lot of people here fish rather flashy scuds, and I think they work at certain times of the year. Like right now, you can see this water clarity is pretty darn high. And I think there's no reason to have flash within a already particularly big bug. One thing you'll probably notice with me is I like to fish cheaper rods, cheaper gear, especially for trout, just because, I don't know, I don't see a whole lot of need for it. Just have at least a somewhat decent drag system and a good fly line, and the rest should take care of itself. You know, if you have good flies and you're making a proper drift, that's all that matters. There's one, and that is a dink. Holy cow. But I do notice mending with like these smaller or these cheaper rods, it is not nearly as good as what it could be. This spunky little bow wants to put up a good fight for his size. There we go. Nice little stalker. Looks like I lost a split shot. There we go. All right. There's a real clean looking silver rainbow. Even though it is a stalker, it's got all its fins. Looks like it's got some eggs, and it is swimming off. Boom, nice kick. That's what we like to see. Alrighty. Back to it. One thing with fly fishing, especially with these tiny flies that we use here on our local tailwaters, is you are not going to land every single fish that you set into. Most of the time, that tiny fly just didn't bury perfectly, and they pop off within the first 2 seconds, and that's just the way it goes. But that being said, if you're getting eats and having pop-offs, I mean, that's not anything to be frustrated about. I think it's just one of those things that we have to deal with fishing tiny flies. You got the first half of that equation right. I mean, you made the drift good enough that you got a fish to eat, and I think that's the most important part of. Yep, there's another. Very next drift. Ooh, get a little brown. Nothing big. Oop, fly line's caught my foot. And again, you notice I'm not really forcing this fish in. I'm also not letting him play. I'm not pulling line off the reel. You notice how there's only been like 6 inches of fly line that's left in my finger since I started fighting this fish. If you know how to get proper side tension on a fish, I mean, you can land trout pretty easily, even if they're putting up a good fight on this light gear. Proper side tension is all that matters. This is not a small fish. I mean, it's not big either by any means. That being said, you can see how he's fighting, but you saw how I was fighting him, and that was the key there. Clean looking South Platte fish. If he wants to hold still, I can show him off to you guys. Right there, another healthy fish. Let's get him back. Swam off strong. Probably landed that fish in 30 seconds. Kept him in the water the whole time. That's what's going to make the difference, keeping a fish swimming away okay and a fish swimming away strong. But I was going to tell you guys why that pheasant tail was working so well, and the reason being is I was kind of enlightened on the first part of the morning telling you about it, is Baetis. Right now we have this. Oh, and I fouled that fish. Dang it. Sorry, buddy. So that's what happens. You see how the difference between that fish was versus the others I've caught so far? He was able to take off right away because I have him not in the mouth, so he has the power. So we're going to land this fish though, still as quickly as possible. Indicator went down, thought he ate. Either he did and I missed, or I just sat on a rock and the fly ended up going in him. You are good to go, buddy. It's a beautiful rainbow. That way. His right eye's blind. Ah, there he goes. His right eye's blind, so he was swimming in the wrong direction. Alright, back to it. The battery almost died. Well, 1% I guess is a dead battery, but there we go. Nice rainbow. Ah, actually he ain't that big. That's all right. He's fighting. Oh yeah, look at that. Whew. Those head checks. Alrighty. He's colored up though, for his little size. Alrighty, come on. Let's put an end to this right here. Whew, that is a good fish. And it looks like, oh, look at that. That's the first fish I've caught in a midge in a while. Look at that. Perfect. A good looking rainbow. I hate holding them like that, but feels weird. But you know what? For the GoPro, for you guys to see the whole fish, guess that's what I gotta do. Woo! More fish.